a very warm welcome to the segment of Africa's biggest and brightest breakfast show, GMA. I'm, of course, Anisha Jalina. Joining me in studio today is the very lovely Miss Lana Ackermann, who's actually from AAMET, right, Lana?
That's right. That's
Lana,
the association I belong to.
Welcome to Good Morning Africa, Lana.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here.
All right. Now, we're talking about relationship abuse today, but could you please tell us about your association, AAMET?
Okay, that particular association is involved with meridian therapies.
Okay.
So it's anything to do with alternative type of therapies.
Oh, okay.
And one of the things that I specialize in is called EFT, which is Emotional Freedom Technique.
Okay.
And that is specifically tapping on the meridian points, on the acupuncture points, which helps to release whatever stress the body is holding on to. And also gives you very quick access to the subconscious memories.
Oh, okay.
That's where the patterns first started. So no matter what, although I do traditional therapy and counseling, I very often use that because it helps me to get the person to access where their
The problem
unconscious,
started.
unhealthy patterns are actually coming from.
Wow, how successful is this method, Lana?
Phenomenally successful.
Yeah, and you can perform it, administer it on anybody, any age?
Anybody, any age, animals, birds, anybody.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about relationship abuse.
Okay.
What is emotional abuse?
Well, it's when one partner has the upper hand over another, and that partner is trying to be the dominant factor and rule the relationship by putting the other person down. So they'll make you feel fearful, they'll make you feel that you're not good enough, unworthy. They might withhold friendship from you, affection from you. They could be verbally abusive. So anything like that, and you know, it's across the broad spectrum. So it could be parent to child, it could be spouse to spouse, it could be
Friends even.
very often it's friendships.
Very often it's friends that stick you with a knife in the back. All right, now, Lana, who can be abused? We know you've just said that it doesn't really, it can be a person in a relationship, not specifically the woman or the men in this case. Who is mostly a target?
Most likely to be abused. Well, the people who are vulnerable, like it's going to be your children, or it's people who have low self-esteem. If you have a good self-esteem, you're not likely to stay in an abusive relationship.
True.
So it's people who've got some sort of pattern from their past where they don't believe that they are worthy. And so they are the most likely people, they are like targets, and they're the most likely to stay in an abusive relationship.
But why would they stay in an abusive relationship, Lana?
Very often it's because they don't feel good enough. They don't think that there's anything that they're not worthwhile, and therefore nobody else will think that they are good enough for them. But often the abuser is very good in other ways. They might be very good providers, for example.
Yes.
And they might have children. And if they were to leave that relationship, they would be financially very vulnerable. So, you know, that would make them want to stay. And sometimes people don't even realize that they're in an abusive relationship until it's pointed out to them.
Exactly, which is my next question, Lana. What are the telltale signs that this is an abusive relationship, or this person is possibly in an abusive relationship?
Okay, so if, for example, your partner withholds your cell phone from you and withholds money from you and questions you where you've been, they're possessive and jealous to the extreme, that very often is abuse. I know of a couple who he's wonderful to her, but he wants to know exactly where she is every second of the day.
Now that is just impossible.
That is abuse.
That is abuse. But then how does one handle such a situation, Lana? How do you then liberate yourself from this kind of relationship?
You know, if one realizes that you can never change the other person, it's always an inside job. So if you can go about getting your self-help, read a lot, Google things, go to a counselor, go to a coach, go on workshops.
Come to Lana.
Come to me.
Yes.
So that you start feeling good about yourself.
Yeah.
Because when you feel good about yourself and you start changing, the dynamic of the relationship will actually start changing. It will be a spin-off in the relationship. And sometimes you need to get out.
Yes, definitely.
And if the abuser will go and get some help themselves, then that will
commendable.
obviously change the dynamic of the relationship, because sometimes the abuser doesn't even realize they're doing it. I mean, I'm counseling somebody at the moment where he had no idea he was being abusive because he came from a family like that. So he just perpetuated that situation into this relationship. And when it got to the point where she said, enough is enough, I'm out of here, only then did he say, let's go and get help. And when he looked at his pattern, he said, I never realized. I never meant to hurt you like that. I'm so sorry.
And another thing, Lana, sorry to cut you off. A lot of people think that just because you're not hitting a person, you're not abusing them.
Yeah.
Can you please just elaborate on that?
Yeah. And the thing is that the emotional abuse often leaves more damaging scars than the physical abuse. Because the physical it's over and that heals. But that mental abuse is insidious. It's in your body. Those scars are there for life because it wears away at your self-esteem.
Yeah. All right. Now, is there a law that protects people that are emotionally abused?
Not really.
Unfortunately, yeah.
You can go and get a court order against somebody, particularly if they are being
Stalking.
violent, or stalking you, or being violent towards you, or something like that. But if they're just being verbally abusive, it's not as easy, but you can certainly try and get some sort of court order against them.
Yes. And then is there therapy available for abused people? Definitely.
Absolutely.
Besides the alternative, what can you
Traditional
recommend?
therapy, alternative therapy, they can go to FAMSA, they can go to Helpline. If they don't have access financially, there's lots of organizations that will help people.
Okay.
But if they do have means, to have ongoing therapy, that's the best way to actually do it, ongoing therapy.
Ongoing therapy.
And of course to get the abuser into the situation as well. But of course if you're at work and your boss is abusing you, then you need to recognize your own pattern. What are you doing that's actually causing this so that you can stop it?
But can you identify such things, Lana? Say this is a long-term relationship, we've known each other for 12 years and you've suddenly changed. I mean, these things do happen when people say, I'm with him because he wasn't like this when we met. What then happens that, triggers all that?
You see, when you first meet, you're showing your best face.
That's for the 3 months.
That's the mask.
That's the only 3 months.
That's the romantic phase.
And the honeymoon phase.
Once the honeymoon phase is over, then it's power struggle. And when the power struggle sets in, the dominant person wants to remain dominant. And they want to have the last word. They want to have the say. They want to put you down. They want to feel good about themselves because they are unable to control their own emotions. So it's easy for them to blame you. So they point the finger at you, not realizing that those 3 fingers are really going back at them.
Wow.
And if they really and truly loved themselves and felt good about themselves, they would never put another person down. So subconsciously, they don't feel good about themselves, which is why they need to dominate.
It actually explains quite a lot. The balance there is just, it's not equaling to one. All right, Lana, thank you very much for joining us. But I mean, you've been helpful to our viewers. Please tell them where to find you for, because we've only had a little time. How else can they get hold of you should they need your therapies, your advice, anything from you?
Okay, great. Well, they can certainly email me.
Okay.
Or they can go onto my website, which is emotionalfreedom.co.za. Or they can get me on my cell, which is 083 339 1641. Or they could simply email me.
Okay.
So they could just go Lana@emotionalfreedom.co.za. plenitimage.co.za.
Wow, Lana, thank you so much. It's been very insightful this morning. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
Let's hope you'll come back again and talk about other kinds of abuse. I mean, there's, like you said, it's quite a broad perspective. Yeah. All right. So hopefully soon we're going to be having you back here.
Great. I look forward to that. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Well, there you have it, Africa. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for. I know a lot of people were going, oh my goodness, am I the abuser? Am I being abused? But please go on the website, check out the details. If you still need more information on the show, do not hesitate to send us an email to gma@plenitimage.co.za. It's bye from us from now. Back to the guys in studio.